Time for our weekly fishing report with Joby Houghtaling and the Pecos Valley Bassmasters, and welcome back to New Mexico.
Thanks, Gene. Good to be here.
What was it like in the free state of Kansas?
It was cold all week. Windy and cold. Had some good snow and
Snow?
it snowed about 6 inches one night. So the day, let's see. So I was on with you last Monday morning at this time. I was on the lake, and if anybody out there that saw I was pretty covered up.
Yep.
Wind was whipping, and it was cold. Well, that night, it snowed between 4 and 6 inches.
Wow.
And which everything in Kansas was green. I mean, they knew the storm was coming because it was predicted the week before there was going to get some precipitation and probably going to be snow. But it's not normal, I guess. It's a lot more north than we are, so I thought maybe it was normal, but apparently not. They don't usually get snow this late. And because everything was the yards, everybody's yards were lush green. They get a lot more rain than we do. You were talking about rain earlier.
Everybody gets a lot more.
Everybody gets a lot more than we do. So anyway, yeah, it snowed, and that made interesting fishing just because it was cold. It was cold. I mean, I think probably it got down to maybe 28 degrees that night when it snowed. And then it came back, got up above into the low 30s, up maybe even into the 40s that next day. So the snow melted off fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. But, over the next 24 hours, it was pretty much all gone by the following day, which was Wednesday. Sure. But the wind was blowing, and I'm not sure if it ever got above freezing with the wind chill.
Yeah.
Those first couple of days that we were there pre-fishing. On Sunday, it was pretty nice. The wind blew pretty hard, but it was pretty nice. We had basically, just for everybody that's listening and watching, New Mexico Bass Nation, we had a team that we had the qualifiers, and so we had their top 10 boaters and top 10 non-boaters that our qualifiers make our team. And then it was the Central Regional BASS Championship, at which people could go on to the national championship. The top boater and top non-boater from each state qualified to move on to the national championship. So our region included states Texas and New Mexico, Colorado, Arkansas, Louisiana, I think Missouri. There was eight states, so 80 boats, 160 anglers. And there were 3 days allowed for pre-fishing. So it was a week-long event. It was about 12 hours from here to get there. So Jeremy Fuentes, our New Mexico Bass Nation president this year, and also a member of my club, Pecos Valley Bassmasters, he and I traveled together. He made it as a boater. I made it as a non-boater onto the New Mexico Bass Nation team. And we left early Saturday morning. And I kind of chronicled my week through my fishing page on Facebook. Shared a lot of pictures there. A lot of videos that I took. But anyway, we traveled together. We fished Sunday, Monday, Tuesday was pre-fish. Then Wednesday, Thursday was the tournament. And then the top 16, and for balancing out purposes, they actually took the top 20 boaters and non-boaters for the championship Friday. And for New Mexico, we had 3 boaters make that and 2 non-boaters make the top 20. And got to fish on Championship Friday. We ended up, as a state, we finished second in the competition, which is maybe the highest New Mexico's ever finished in a regional championship. And we also had the number 1 boater and the number 2 boater. So we had the top 2 anglers won first and second from our state, which we're very proud of that. And we also had the number 4 non-boater. So, of course, we have 2 going on to nationals. The number 1, the one that won it, Chris Bosley, a New Mexico Bass Nation member, won the boater side. Christian Gladfelter won second. He doesn't get to go to nationals because first was won by, and then Brad Hoff, I think he's out of Albuquerque, but in Mexico Bass Nation, he won fourth in the non-boater side, so he's moving on to represent New Mexico at the Nationals. And I've got a bunch of pictures if we want to share those.
Yeah, let's go ahead and if Isaiah's got them racked up and ready to go, we'll put them up there.
So that was during pre-fish. That's Jeremy Fuentes. He is a member of the Pecos Valley Bassmasters, of which I'm the president and tournament director. Jeremy this year was voted in as the New Mexico Bass Nation president and represents our state. And I'm the secretary treasurer for the nation. But anyway, that was on a pre-fish day. It's you can kind of see those waves in the background. It was pretty windy, but he was fishing hard. We were trying to find him, so that was a pre-fish day. And you can see he's bundled up pretty good.
Yep.
So that was my day one partner. The way it works is they draw, and you can't fish with anybody from your state, and there's a computer drawing. And I fished on Wednesday, which was day one of the tournament with that gentleman, and that was Jamie Dumas. He was from Arkansas. Really great guy, and got to know him. Obviously spent about 8 hours on the boat with him, but he was a good boater to boat with.
Okay.
And I think the next picture will be him in his boat. So when we got out of the water, neither one of us caught a keeper, so we didn't get to weigh in. We caught some fish, but no keeper bass. And one of the things for those out there who know about fishing, I think the federal regulation on black bass is 14 inches, and I think maybe it's on smallmouth also 14 inches now. But in that particular lake, it was a 15-inch limit, and that's a big jump. I mean, an inch. And so it was just tough fishing. But anyway, that was him and his boat. Side note there, just for all the anglers out there listening in, a lot of the Arkansas guys had small boats. And I asked them why. They had 18-footers, 18-and-a-half-footers, which his was one of those. And I asked him, I said, what's the deal? A lot of their lakes are really small or tight. In Arkansas, they've got a lot of trees and a lot of almost like marshland where they got to kind of, and so a lot of them had really small boats. And I'd be honest, I was a little scared because those big waves in a smaller boat, but he handled it like a champion, and we didn't crash, I guess.
Well, you're here.
I'm here, so we're okay. That was my day two boater, and he was Josh Plades. He was actually from Kansas. So I was kind of excited when I drew his name when they sent the texts out that night, Wednesday night. And then I went and looked up the results and see what he did. He was zeroed on day one because I was hoping he had this, a couple of spots.
Yeah.
But we didn't catch any keepers on day two. But another great young man. He was Jamie was my age. We had a lot of things in common, kids, ages, and
sure.
Josh was my oldest son. Josh. He had the same name, and he was his age.
Okay.
And so, again, just some things in common, and had a great day with Josh Plades. We just, unfortunately, didn't catch any keepers. And that was him in his boat. And the Kansas team, you can see their jersey.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. It looks like a road crew.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
And during the weigh-in, and I can't think of his name now, but the gentleman that runs Bass Nation nationally with BASS, he picked on one of the Kansas guys. He said, next, I didn't realize you guys were part of the road crew. How's that coming? How are the roads coming along? But their unis were interesting. Anyway, that was him and his boat.
Yeah.
That was just a picture I took. We were at the Acorn Resort on the lake, Milford Lake in Kansas, and that was just that was up on, they had a big deck, they had a big convention center, beautiful facilities there in Kansas. Too bad it wasn't a better week weather-wise. But
is that Rocky Squirrel?
It was some kind of a squirrel. Yeah. That was the morning that we got up to snow.
You mentioned that it snowed.
Yeah, and so Jeremy actually took that's his boat and pick up, and we knew it was coming. I mean, it was forecasted. Everybody was talking about it. We covered the boat the night before, and we had already started knocking snow off of the boat cover, and then he said, well, let's get a picture. So, but anyway, that was the night it snowed. That was the morning. We were heading out to go fishing. We had to uncover from snow. And you're laughing because you think we're crazy. And I tell you, I was contemplating that.
Well, you
were
said
crazy.
that last Monday.
I was thinking about selling a boat.
Selling your boat.
Yeah. That was just a picture. I just wanted to show a picture generally what that lake looked like.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of rock.
Okay.
That was just a point that we were fishing and fixing to go around, and a lot of chunk rock. There was some smaller rock, but a lot of the lake was the edges were covered in that, which is kind of similar to Ute Lake for us, Conchas here in New Mexico.
Gotcha. It's our next one there.
Okay, that was our team jersey.
Okay.
That was the back. I wanted to show that.
Yeah.
And talk about our sponsors. There's some national sponsors on there. You can see it had my name on the top. And that was the back of our jersey. And so our sponsors locally was the Hanseatic Group. They're out of Albuquerque. And then you can see there, I can't see it very well, but we had CPR2U. We had that one there. I can't remember what it's, San Juan Marine, I think. Yeah. And then we had Los Pinos Fly and Tackle.
Let's see if that'll help you out there.
Okay. Yeah, San Juan Marine, Los Pinos Fly and Tackle, CPR2U, the Hanseatic Group, and the Hanseatic Management Group. and then 31p1.com, my company. And so that was sponsors, our local sponsors. I want to shout out to them and thank them for sponsoring our team.
Yeah.
And helping us get to the regional.
Okay.
That's Jeremy Fuentes. That's was my partner. He weighed in fish all 3 days. He made the championship as he was the number 15 in the boater side. He ended up moving up to number 12. It's how he finished overall in the tournament. But I think that was day one, and you can kind of see the front of our jerseys there, how they looked. Can't see the sponsors, but the national sponsors are on the front of our jerseys, and he had a couple of fish on day one, and so he had a great tournament, as good as you could have, really.
Okay.
And then that was our plaque. I just took a picture of that. We got plaques for making the team, and so that's fun. Something to memorialize, making the state team. And that's all, folks. I like it.
Isaiah figured out how to let us know, and
nice.
Got all the slides. So overall, it sounds like New Mexico fishermen did a pretty good job representing.
Really, really well. Yes, to win second in the tournament overall as a team was outstanding. We actually caught more fish than keeper fish than any other state. Just a little. We were little over 2 pounds out. So if I could have just caught one keeper that weighed 2.5 pounds, we would have won. And there was about half of us that didn't catch a keeper, and
right.
over half the field didn't.
Yeah.
So 160 anglers, and I think it was like 58% or something did not catch a keeper. So it was tough fishing.
Sure. Now
you had to have spots.
You said that they had a size limit that was a little higher
than normal.
Was this the lake that did that?
The lake, and actually Kansas as a state may have that requirement, but I know for sure the lake did. And sometimes lakes can do that. If they're, lakes can have different sizes in terms of what they can keep. And I would have had a keeper on any other lake that I know of with a smallmouth, and I thought I'd put the picture in there, but I guess I didn't of the one that was close. I had a smallmouth that was over 14 inches, but it wasn't 15. And so I couldn't keep it, but I took a picture of it. But anyway, it was a fun week. It was a learning experience for me, getting to go and be in that kind of that level of fishing. Really, really good anglers at those tournaments because they had to make their team, and so they had to work through their levels to get there, just like we did. And it was interesting to me to see all the different kinds of boats, which obviously. I guess that's an obvious statement. Everybody's got different boats, but like I said, it was interesting to me about the shorter boats. I didn't expect that. I thought this big tournament they'd all be 21 footers, but a lot of the Arkansas guys had the smaller boats, and he explained why, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
But boy, that open water was a little nerve-wracking.
And that's the smaller boat. Now the guy from Kansas, did he had a bigger boat?
He had a bigger boat. His boat was the same size as mine. It wasn't a 21 foot. It was a Skeeter. No, it was a. It wasn't a Skeeter. The 18.5 foot that I fished with Jamie was a Skeeter. With Josh, his was a Stratus, which is just another brand, but it was a 19.5 footer. So it was 1 foot bigger. And it's amazing too how much 1 foot can make a difference in terms of how a boat handles water.
Yeah. And
the bigger boats handle it better because they're bigger. And those smaller boats are a little nerve-wracking. There was one Kansas guy that I saw that had a 17-foot boat. I mean,
oh wow,
just again,
really small.
Well, comparatively speaking, but nobody. There was no, to my knowledge, no one had any issues on the lake out of the 80 boats. And that's kind of dangerous. I mean, when you have swells 5 and 6 feet, winds blowing that hard, that can be a dangerous situation. So luckily, we're blessed that nobody was injured or no boats were lost, because that can happen.
That can happen. Got about a minute left. Anything else from the tournament you want to mention, or
no? Just what's coming up with our club. And I misspoke last week when I talked to you, because I said our next tournament was going to be at Stanford Lake for the Pecos Valley Bassmasters.
You were sitting on a boat in the
and I wasn't thinking correctly. I made a change because New Mexico Bass Nation was able to solidify a tournament, our next two qualifiers, which are going to be at Ute Lake, May 24th and 25th, and so we're going to fish along with that. So we're not going to be at Stanford in Texas until June.
Okay.
So New Mexico Pecos Valley Bassmasters. If you want to fish with us, go to our website, pvbm.club. You can click on the Join tab. It's going to bring up a fillable PDF. You can fill that out, email it to us. How to do everything is there on the website. And we'll get you an invoice for our club dues, which are $90. That includes our club, the state dues, which allow you to fish in any of the upcoming tournaments with New Mexico Bass Nation, and also the national dues, which allow you to fish in any BASS tournaments. So that's it.
Sounds good. Joby, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep, thanks for having me.
We'll talk more fishing next Monday morning.
Okay.
All right. Thanks to Kith and Kin. Delicious sandwiches and coffee. Go by and try their new bagels. They're really, really good. This